Metro on WDET. I'm Robin Vincent. Many of us feel distant from one another. In large part, that's tied to political polarization. So what does it look like to come together, to build connections and even friendship with people who disagree? In Washtenaw County, a local chapter of the group Braver Angels has both a liberal, a conservative, and an independent leader. And they want to depolarize people here in Southeast Michigan. Producer Sam Corey spoke to some of its leaders to learn more.
Ed Carls is the red lead of Braver Angels of Washtenaw County. He says he was interested in Braver Angels because online political discourse had grown toxic.
Part of the problem is that so much of our discourse takes place online where we don't know or see the other person. We can insult them at will if we wish, troll them, what have you. I think, frankly, that is the source of why people are exhausted.
That increased tension, says Ed, has made him worried about polarization. He says he knows conservatives and families that aren't able to speak to their liberal relatives because they feel so divided by politics.
I personally think it's very sad when I see families that are torn asunder by politics because they have so many other things in common.
For her part, Emily Twanmo, the Blue Lead, joined Braver Angels after reading a book about conservatives in the South. She then gained an appreciation for the perspectives she hadn't considered, and she realized that she was living in an echo chamber, one she hoped to escape.
It was this book and a few other things that made me realize, you know what? People who think differently than I do have good reasons for that.
Ed says an attendee, Gloria, came to Braver Angels from a similar starting point. She was a liberal who didn't think much of conservative values or ideology. Ed says Gloria had thought that
conservatives would change their mind about issues if only they would become more educated. So in her mind, it was a matter of education and knowledge.
Early on, Ed says Gloria went to a depolarization workshop. The point is to get people to reflect on their own values and to learn about their political biases in the hopes that they recognize and deconstruct those prejudices.
She came to realize that she herself had a lot more to learn and that she was actually a little bit ashamed almost in terms of how polarized she was coming into it. And some of her prior assumptions about conservatives, just kind of like with a broad brush, didn't turn out necessarily to be true.
In the workshop, Gloria was beginning to shift. Those changes can happen at Braver Angels, says Emily, because people start by learning about others outside of a political context. Instead, they begin by exploring people's hobbies, personal projects, and other non-political themes.
I think it's hard to start with politics and then find the common ground because politics are so darn divisive. It's much easier if you start with things that we all share.
Ed agrees.
I think it's a very important thing for every person to remember that every one of us is an amalgam of many, many different things. Our politics, our religion, our interests are all each by themselves just one aspect of who we are.
And yet all of this civil discourse is happening while President Donald Trump, the leader of the Republican Party, is in the White House. Many say he's stoking the flames of polarization.
I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. Somebody wants to run against me. I call my attorney general. I say, listen, indict him. Well, he hasn't done anything wrong that we know of. I don't know. Indict him on income tax evasion. You'll figure it out.
The Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting.
Ed acknowledges Trump is polarizing the country, but like Emily, he says that reducing polarization means understanding the totality of people who support the president beyond their vote. He adds that in order to have better political conversations, people need to spend more time with each other and less time exclusively discussing politics, be that online or in person.
There's more to life than just this constant cage match. You know, go out and have a bagel, smell the flowers, walk the dog.
Appreciating different aspects of life can become easier when you appreciate different aspects of people or of yourself. Ed says Braver Angels workshops encourage people to reflect on where their beliefs come from and why they feel so distanced from others.
For some people, just kind of learning the fact about themselves that they come in with a very polarized view can be the impetus for them to go up and explore more, just examine their own beliefs a little bit more carefully.
That's what happened to Gloria. Ed says she came into the workshop thinking that conservatives just needed more knowledge, and she left thinking their views actually had value. It made her realize something about herself.
She said that one of the light bulbs that went off in her head is why sometimes conservatives accuse liberals of being elite or elitist. She said she was guilty herself.
It's in understanding ourselves and one another, Emily says, that people wouldn't just change their minds about political topics. They would also develop new friendships and create unique political coalitions.
If we had more opportunities where people were really listening to each other with curiosity and engaging in civil discourse, we would find that people can come together a lot more.
If we gathered more often in public, both Emily and Ed believe we'd all realize we're actually less polarized than we perceive.
Producer Sam Corey spoke to Ed Carls and Emily Tuanmo. They're the red and blue co-leads of Braver Angels of Washtenaw County. Coming up on the Metro, how a Detroit soccer club turned pride into real money for LGBTQ youth, hundreds of thousands of dollars, 10 years running. This is WDET-FM, Detroit Public Radio, your connection to news, music, and conversation. And this is the Metro. We'll be right back.